If you want to start a YouTube channel that gets more subscribers and more views in as little time as possible, you're in the right place. Most videos on this topic give pretty surface level advice that is mildly helpful at best. This video is going to give you a step-by-step framework for building a successful YouTube channel. Now let's start at the beginning. Before you ever hit record, you're going to need to know what you're recording. And that means you're going to need to choose a niche. Choosing a niche is a critical step as it will help you understand the audience you're creating for, and it will give you guidelines about the types of content you create. You may have heard the cliche phrases like the riches are in the niches and you can't be everything to everybody. Well, the reason they became cliche is because these phrases are completely true. A niche allows you to focus your efforts on serving a specific audience really well. Niches force you to develop specialized knowledge and reduce the number of alternatives available to your channel. As you grow, those benefits compound over time. Let me put it to you this way. Who does better in the long run? A general practitioner or a brain surgeon? Exactly. Choosing a niche gives you leverage. When choosing a niche, you want to pick something that you're really excited about. That way you stay motivated through all the hard work and challenges you'll inevitably face. You'll also ideally want to pick a niche that is trending upward. For example, interest in e-commerce is growing, but the public's interest in blacksmithing probably peaked about 200 years ago. Lastly, if your goal is to turn your YouTube channel into a source of income, you'll want to choose a profitable niche. That means choosing a niche that has a good amount of related products or services. This decision will directly affect your ability to monetize through ads, sponsorships, affiliate programs, and even creating your own products. Remember, for monetization, it's not just about the number of your subscribers, the quality of them is also important. Some niches are just more profitable than others. For example, currently personal finance is among the most profitable niches on YouTube. Once you've chosen your niche, you need to have an idea about what style of videos you're going to create. The style of videos you make will have a direct impact on how long your videos take to make, and thus how many you'll be able to publish. For this reason, many YouTube channels use a combination of video styles. Here are some of the most common video styles you'll see on YouTube. First, we have product reviews. Then we have how-to videos, vlogs, comedy skits, challenge videos, reaction videos, live streams, mini documentaries, and video essays. The next step is to come up with a bunch of video ideas that will work well within your niche and for your video style. The first thing I would recommend is taking a pen and paper and trying to come up with as many video ideas as possible. Think of things that will actually provide value to the viewer, things that will entertain them, educate them, or inspire them. Try to come up with video ideas that you would watch yourself if someone else made them. Take a look at competitors' channels for some creative inspiration. If you're feeling stuck, try trend spotting. Use a trend tool like Google Trends and see if there are any trending topics in your niche. Once you have a list of base ideas, you'll want to do some keyword research using a tool like TubeBuddy. Remember that YouTube is a search engine, and optimizing your videos for search is a much more predictable path to growth than hoping for virality when you're just starting out. Use TubeBuddy to find keywords related to the concepts that you have written down. TubeBuddy will show you how many people search for those terms and how much competition there is to take that #1 rank. It'll even tell you how the topic is trending over time. Using a keyword tool like TubeBuddy can even give you ideas you never would have thought of by showing you related searches. You'll want to repeat this process once per month, choosing the keywords and videos that you'll be creating next month. Next, you need to create a content calendar. One of the most common places new YouTubers get hung up on is the organization involved with producing and publishing videos consistently. Consistency is super important. It allows you to get more shots on goal and more feedback from your audience, which will make you create better videos and thus grow faster. To use a monopoly metaphor, the more properties you have on the board, the more rent they are bringing in. In this case, videos are the houses and rent are the views, subscribers, and eventually revenue. Knowing that consistency is so important, you'll want to have a structure in place that helps you get into the flow of a routine. You can create a content calendar with any form of calendar, even the one that comes pre-installed on your cell phone. However, one of the things I personally like to use is project management software. The main benefit of using project management tools is it makes collaboration easier now or down the line. Like maybe you want to outsource editing, so this will help you do that. You can also put helpful resources in there like checklists so you don't make the same mistake twice. Now, people get weirdly cultish about project management tools, but honestly, they're basically all the same. When creating a content calendar, I highly recommend starting by inputting the publishing date of your video and working backwards from there. There are a decent amount of steps involved in creating a YouTube video, so you'll want to put those in the calendar leading up to the publish date. Fill that content calendar out for all the videos you'll create for the month, and you're good to go. You'll want to repeat this process monthly to make sure you're always planning ahead. Now it's time to start script writing. Research is a fundamental part of script writing, and depending on your video, research might look a little different. It might involve watching similar or related YouTube videos and thinking about how you can make your video different, more valuable, and more engaging. It might involve reading a book or an article. It might involve trying out a product. It might even involve going somewhere or speaking to someone or consulting your own experience. Regardless, you should write down notes and organize those notes into an outline. This outline is the roadmap that you're going to use when you start writing. Now, there are two schools of thought when it comes to writing scripts, and both are equally valid. Some YouTubers prefer to write a script that is mostly made of bullet points, and they'll use it as a springboard to improvise. Other creators prefer to write scripts that they'll stick pretty closely to by either memorizing them or using a teleprompter. There are hugely successful YouTubers that use each method, so do what feels right for you. Now, regardless of which script writing method you choose, the structure of a successful script is pretty much the same. First, you need to start with a strong hook. If you don't, you risk losing viewers in the first few seconds of your video. Here are a few tactics for solid video hooks. Start in the middle of the action. Show something exciting or dramatic that happens later in the video, but don't show the viewer how it ends. Start with a statement that teases value. What big benefit is in it for the viewer if they stick around? Start with a bold statement. This should be something surprising or something that challenges the norm and entices the viewer to need to learn more. After the hook, we have the content, and the content will make up the vast majority of your video. Here are some helpful tips. Use pattern interruptions. These are moments that go against what the viewer expects to happen next, like a surprising visual or a joke. They're the content creator's version of a curveball, and they keep things interesting. Assume intelligence in your audience and don't keep hammering home the same point over and over again. Write with simple words so that anyone who speaks the language can understand. Buzzwords are always bad. Be concise. If you can express an idea with more clarity and fewer words, do it. Lean into style. The most interesting YouTubers have a style that is all their own. You'll develop your own style by taking risks and choosing authenticity over imitation. Find opportunities throughout the script to remind viewers to like and subscribe or they'll forget. You can do this in clever ways by using pattern interruptions. The closer is the easiest part to write. You want to remind the audience what the channel stands for and why it's worth subscribing. If you have a related video, you should reference it here to induce binge watching. Lastly, provide a call to action, most likely reminding them to like and subscribe. Now, a lot of people think that they have to have access to fancy equipment or a special studio to start a YouTube channel. And while production value does matter, the stories you tell, the insight you give, and the entertainment you provide to viewers matters so much more. Don't get caught in the trap of thinking that your content quality is proportionately related to your setup's cost. It's not. That type of thinking will only form procrastination. You can always upgrade to a new camera later, but you'll never be able to get back the time you weren't creating. I'm going to show you the fundamental principles of production and techniques that you can use at any budget level. If you have a low budget, you can use a cell phone in landscape mode. A medium budget, a DSLR camera. A high budget, you can use a cinema camera. First things first, set up your camera at the far end of the room. If you're filming yourself, having a tripod is a must. We need to find our frame before we do anything else. When finding your frame / setting up your camera, you're going to want to optimize for what is known as depth. The farther away the background is from your camera, the more depth you'll have. If you're working in a small room, a simple trick is to shoot into the corner. Those parallel lines that converge to a vanishing point will help give the shot a lot more depth than if you were shooting up against a flat wall. Make sure your background has visual interest. Small touches of art direction like a plant or lamp or shelf can really go a long way. Less is more. You'll want to keep the frame uncluttered though, so you're still the focus. Next, we're going to position ourselves in the frame as far away from the background as possible while still maintaining good composition and a good distance from the camera. We want to maintain as much depth as possible. You'll want to position yourself in the center of the frame, giving yourself room to breathe on either side. You'll also want to make sure you have the right amount of headroom, keeping the top of your head close to the top of the frame. Next, you want to make sure that the tripod is set to the correct height. Angles have a different psychological effect. If you put the camera too high, the audience looks down on you and you seem vulnerable. If you put the camera too low, the audience looks up at you and you seem imposing. For YouTube, eye to eye is just right. If you're sitting down, you'll want the shot to stop at your waist. If you're standing up, you want to make sure that you show your shoes. Cutting a shot off at the ankles looks pretty weird. Now that we have our frame, we're going to want to adjust our camera settings. First, we're going to make sure that we're shooting at 24 frames per second. This is the frame rate the majority of movies are shot in, and it's what our eyes are most used to. 24 frames per second has a natural motion blur and looks most cinematic. Next, we'll make sure we're shooting in a high file quality. If your camera shoots 4K, choose this setting. If not, choose 1080p. Next, we're going to adjust our exposure settings. The rule of thumb is to expose for what you can't control. For example, the light coming through a window. Take your exposure and bring it down or up until the window is properly exposed. You can do this by playing with your aperture, and then if you need to, touch your ISO. Then quickly set your camera's white balance and make sure it's in autofocus mode and that the image looks sharp. Now we're ready to move on to lighting. Light affects how we perceive space, and that's why my face will look dramatically different in good lighting and bad lighting. Here's the quickest rundown on lighting. The light that brightens your face is called a key light. This usually goes on one side of your face. Usually, it is motivated by a natural light source like a window or a lamp so that the lighting doesn't feel fake. Your second light source affects your shadow side, and this is called a fill. It goes on the opposite side of the key light. The ratio between the key side and the shadow side determines how clean or dramatic your light looks. A backlight is used to light your environment. This will help separate you from the background and provide depth. A practical light is the light inside the frame that you can use to motivate your key light or just to make it look cool. This is something like a lamp. Here's how to use this knowledge at every budget level. For a low budget, you can use natural light combined with a white sheet for diffusion, a black card to cut the light, and a white card to bounce light. For a medium budget, you can use a natural light, one light diffused with a softbox, as well as a black card and a white card. For a high budget, you can use the standard 3-light setup. When watching videos, one thing that people often forget is that sound is half the experience. People usually have a harder time sitting through poor sound quality than they do through poor video quality. That means if you're going to invest somewhere first, start with sound. Now, when recording sound, these are the most common problems: reverb/echo, background noise, levels being set too loud, or the mic being improperly placed. Don't let yourself succumb to the fix-it in editing attitude. Problems with badly recorded sound are much harder to fix than you might think. First things first, make sure the room you choose doesn't have any major sound interference coming from cars, pedestrians, music, trains, or airplanes. If this isn't possible, try recording at the quietest times of the day, like in the early morning or the evening. Reverb and echo are the results of sound frequencies bouncing off of hard surfaces. You fix reverb by placing soft materials in the environment that absorb the sound. For a low budget, you can use a comforter. For a medium budget, you can use moving blankets. For a high budget, you can use sound panels. There are 3 ways to set up audio. You could use a condenser mic in the frame, you could use a condenser mic out of frame, or you could use a lavalier microphone on your clothing. Lastly, check your audio levels. Green means safe, yellow means almost peaking, and red means you're peaking and the audio will come out distorted. Speak at the same volume you'll be presenting in, taking into account the loudest your voice will go. Always make sure you're in the green and the audio will come out sounding great. Here's an important note. When recording sound externally, every time you hit record on your camera and the external recorder, you should clap. That way, there'll be a frequency spike on both the camera audio and the external recorder, which will allow you to easily sync the audio when editing. Everyone feels camera shy the first time they're in front of the lens. And while camera presence isn't exactly something that could be taught by simply reading a book, it is something that can be learned by doing. Here are some simple tips. Talk slower than normal so people can absorb your message. When starting out on camera, most people have a tendency to talk really fast in an effort to get it over with. If you talk slower, you come across more naturally, find a flow, and you'll feel a lot more confident. Dress in clothes that make you feel comfortable and confident. As a pro tip, avoid colors that are neon, checkers, clothes with logos, or anything too busy that's going to distract viewers from your message. Don't worry about those small mistakes. They make you seem more human. It's okay to do a few takes, but don't stress over perfection because there's a magic in authenticity. Project a good amount of energy at the camera, but don't come across as overly animated because you'll just seem cartoonish. Try to stay true to your unique personality while turning the volume up on it slightly. Use baby powder or matte powder so you avoid looking shiny and sweaty on camera. Treat reading a script like you're presenting a slideshow. It's okay to drift and improvise. Lastly, speak like you're talking to a friend, not presenting to an audience. They say a video is really written 3 times. Once when you write it, second when you shoot it, and lastly when you edit it. Let's talk about what makes a good edit. When it comes to your editing program, the 2 most popular are Final Cut Pro and Premiere Pro. Either one will work great. Step 1 is sync your audio and the visual. If you're using an external recorder, this is the first step. If not, you can probably skip this. Step 2, set up folders and organize your footage. A-roll goes in one folder, B-roll goes in another folder, audio goes in another folder, and sound effects go in another. If you have a ton of footage, you can break it down even further, like by shoot day. An organized project is an organized mind, and it's going to help you avoid a lot of searching later down the road. Step 3 is the rough cut. This is one of the more time-consuming parts. It involves choosing the best takes and footage of your video, and then organizing those sections into your video structure. When choosing what footage to include and what not to include, you'll want to be ruthless. Your audience truly won't care how long it took to set up a shot or how many takes it took. What they will care about is whether that shot adds to their experience or takes away from it. It's totally normal for a lot of things you shoot to end up on the editing room floor. Step 4 is the fine cut. In the fine cut stage, the pacing is your number 1 priority. We all know that people have limited attention spans and that watch time is one of the most important metrics on YouTube. To hold people's attention, you'll want your video to feel fast-paced with constant pattern interruptions. You basically want the audience to feel like something novel is happening all the time, and if they look away, they're gonna miss something super important. You can achieve this novelty in your edits a few different ways. You can use fast cuts. You can use B-roll sequences to keep the viewer interested. You can use sound effects to punctuate certain moments. You can use title cards to stress certain points. You can keyframe clips, making the footage more dynamic by zooming in or panning. You can use animations or PNGs to spice things up. You can use screen captures to give examples or give a tutorial. You can switch the music a few times throughout your video to make the video feel like it's progressing. On the topic of music, you need royalty-free music so your video doesn't get flagged. You can get royalty-free music at SoundCloud, Epidemic Sound, or even YouTube's audio library. Step 5 is color and sound mix. In the final steps of editing, you're going to want to adjust your color and sound. Now, you can only move on to this step when the flow of your video is actually locked. A lot of YouTubers will use what are called lookup tables or LUTs, which can greatly speed up the process of color grading. While LUTs act as a great starting point, you'll still need to adjust them slightly to ensure your skin tone and the other colors in your footage look accurate. Finally, you'll want to check the levels on your audio, sound effects, and music, balancing them to make sure that nothing is too loud or too quiet. As a pro tip, turn down the music a little bit lower than you think. The audience cares more about what you have to say. You'll want to add a few effects to your dialogue track to make sure it pops. First, you want to add a single band compressor to flatten out the peaks and valleys of your voice. Second, you'll want to add a de-esser so we don't have to listen to those snake-like S's. Then you'll want to add a parametric equalizer to bring down the low frequencies and bring up the high frequencies just a touch. Lastly, you'll want to add a hard limiter, which will make your vocal louder. When that's all done, make sure your master track is set at -16 LUFS. That's the standard measure of loudness for the internet. Finally, export your video in 4K. Even if you didn't record your video in 4K, by editing and exporting in 4K, all your title sequences will look that much nicer. Now, the two most important metrics for growth on YouTube are watch time and click-through rate. We've talked a lot about optimizing your videos, but it won't matter how good your video is if nobody clicks on it. If you want to get clicks, you need to have a strong thumbnail and a headline. Your thumbnail is crucially important, so make sure to come up with a few interesting visual concepts before your shoot. That way it's not an afterthought and you have a few that you can test out. Make your thumbnail design have bold colors and an eye-catching visual so it truly stands out. For the headline, you want to make it emotionally gripping and irresistibly clickable. Ideally, you want to inspire curiosity. You'll want to workshop a few different headlines before you actually settle on one. Finally, you're ready to upload your first video. Congratulations on taking the first step to starting your YouTube channel. Make sure to stay consistent, learn from your mistakes, and stay committed to continually improving. If you do that, you can't help but succeed. If you're looking for the right e-commerce platform to start building your own online store, look no further than Shopify. It has tons of powerful tools that help you find customers, drive sales, and manage your day-to-day. Click the link in the description box below, and you'll get a free trial so that you can test out all the features for yourself. If you want a checklist that you can easily refer back to for the steps you need to take to start your own business, I recommend you check out this article on how to start a business on Shopify.com. I'll also post a link to that in the description below. I hope this video was super helpful on your journey to starting a YouTube channel and also into entrepreneurship. If you have any lingering questions, be sure to ask them in the comments below. For more simple, actionable tips to grow your online business, make sure to subscribe to Learn with Shopify. I've been your host, Tyler, and I'll see you next time on Learn with Shopify.